Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. Today I'm going to be doing a video on spiritual self-care, and this is part of a series, so I'll leave the link to the other videos in the description box below. Make sure you check them out. So like I said, this video is going to be about spiritual self-care and how you can look after your spiritual side and your inner self, because I think it's important to practice self-care in every single aspect of life. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and here are a few tips that you can incorporate into your life to elevate your soul and give your spiritual self some love. The first thing is to give somebody a compliment. Make sure you do this selflessly. That's the really important part. We can all quite easily go around giving compliments to people, but when we do it selflessly, that's when it would start to mean the most. So spend some time learning about the people that you hang out with and compliment them on things that they might not usually get complimented on, just to spread that unconditional love, and that will help you become more aware of it and help you practice it for yourself as well. My second point is to never stop learning about how to improve or educating yourself on things that will help you live a better life. So if you practice a faith, spend some more time learning about it, analyzing it, speaking to others around you about it, getting ideas and growing that way. Or you can even just look into different ways that you can start to connect with your body. For example, yoga is a really amazing way that you can start to become in tune with the energies in your body and become more aware of what you're feeling. Another way you can educate yourself is by watching documentaries. One documentary that I really recommend is Heal on Netflix, and it's all about how we cause a lot of disease and illnesses because we let our bodies go under a lot of stress and we disconnect from our bodies. So once we learn to reconnect with ourselves, once we learn to become more in tune with ourselves, we can understand why we feel a certain way or why we have certain illnesses, and this documentary goes into a lot of detail about that. So check it out and let me know what you think in the comments below. And the third thing that we have to do is start to actually incorporate all of these teachings into our lives. It's really easy to watch documentaries, it's really easy to learn and absorb information, but when it comes to applying, that's the hard thing, but that's the most rewarding thing as well. What steps are you going to take to incorporate that teaching into your life? What things are you going to do? How are you going to actively make sure that you're listening, that you're applying this education, you're applying this knowledge into your life every day? And the fourth thing is to spend time alone and reflect on your own journey and learn about your own goals. Now, it's really important that we don't sit with heavy thoughts alone, and if we need to share them with someone, it can really help. So make sure you're in a comfortable place mentally before you start to reflect on your journey, because if we have something heavy that we're holding on to, it can actually be really hard to go in deeper and learn more about that. So the reason I recommend spending time alone is because we often have all of the answers that we need within us. So when we disconnect from everything else and we spend time with ourselves, often we can't answer a lot of our questions and a lot of our struggles, and we can find peace with them. And this empowers me and it helps me feel like I'm making progress and looking after myself without anything external. But there are so many situations where I do need to talk to someone and I want different opinions for some guidance on something that's happened in my life, and it just gives me a lot of inspiration on what kind of decision to make moving forward. And number 5 is to let go of things that you can't control. This is really important because if we try to control everything that's going on in our environment, that's all we focus on, and this can lead to a lot of disconnect with your inner self. So the more we focus on everything external and the things that we can't change, the less we focus on ourselves. Whereas if you detach yourself from all of these things and you just focus on what you can control, and the only thing that you can truly control is yourself and your reactions to the world, then that's how we find inner peace, and that's how we learn to give ourselves true unconditional love. So the next thing I'm going to talk about comes from this book called Ichigaya, and it's the Japanese secret to a long, happy, healthy life. I'll leave a link in the description below, and I highly recommend giving this a read. There is much wisdom in the classic saying, mens sana in corpore sano. a sound mind in a sound body. It reminds us that both mind and body are important and that the health of one is connected to the other. It has been shown that maintaining an active, adaptable mind is one of the key factors in staying young. So the reason I wanted to include that passage is because it really relates to your spiritual being. Even though we're talking about the mind and the body, don't forget that they're all connected. When we look after our mind, when we look after our body, that's how we're going to also look after our spiritual self. So I have made a video on physical self-care and mental self-care, and I'll leave a link in the description below too. The next thing is to focus on the bigger picture. A lot of these things that we go through and we see and we try to learn and incorporate into our lives can be really overwhelming. So once we remind ourselves about how little we are in this whole world, in this whole universe, for me there's something really reassuring about that, because it just makes it a lot easier to let go and focus on your own tiny little self. Number 8 is to be mindful about the way that you talk to other people and what you actually think about them as well. So we can often filter out a lot of the things that we really might want to say to someone just because we know it's not acceptable. But feeling that on the inside is what we need to change. We can give 1,000 compliments to someone in a day, but if we don't like them or if we think the opposite inside, that's going to damage us. That's not going to help our spiritual growth. That's not going to help you be unconditionally loving someone or unconditionally accepting someone. It's just something to be aware of, and if you want some more tips on how to be mindful, I'll leave a link to my mindful video in the description box as well. And number 9 is make sure you don't judge yourself. So when we're on this journey of self-improvement and self-awareness, a lot of negative feelings can arise. We start to realize what we want to do in this world. That can also make you feel like you regret a lot of things in your life. For example, if we want to start to be more compassionate, this journey can remind us of all of the times that we weren't compassionate in our life. And this is where you have to learn to detach yourself from things that you've experienced in the past and just give yourself the gentle reminder that you're no longer that person anymore. You're no longer who you were yesterday, let alone 10 years ago. So let it teach you what it needs to teach you. Let it be that constant reminder to continue to stay compassionate, but don't dwell on something that happened 10 years ago. Just focus on actively making the right choice in this moment and accepting everything else. So number 10 is actually to learn how to be more compassionate. The more compassionate we start to become towards other people and animals around us, the more compassion we can start to provide for ourselves. The more aware we are of other people's feelings, that will reflect onto us, and we'll start to become more aware of our own feelings. As much as we should think about ourselves and prioritize our own feelings, we need to make sure that we're also there for other people. Learning how to be more compassionate towards other people will help you feel a lot more grounded and connected to yourself, because truly I believe that the world is just a mirror of yourself. So the kinder we are, the more compassionate we are to other people, that's what we will receive. So take your time, remember to be easy on yourself, remember to be forgiving towards yourself, and remember to love yourself. That takes me to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're feeling inspired. Make sure you check out my other videos from the self-care series and leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.